G'day Jaffa Adventurers, Terry King here, welcome to the channel. Check this out for a boot up sequence. That's my car climbing up Big Red. That's the Jaffa intro you're all probably familiar with. And that is the home screen with my car as the main icon on that home screen. How friggin' cool is that? Welcome everybody to the third installation of a video series that I have done on the Android head unit that I've installed in the 200 series. First of all, you got to pardon all the crap that I've got sitting on the bench at the moment. I'm in the middle of a disc brake conversion for the FJ45. Those of you familiar with the channel will know all about that build. If you haven't seen it, go check in the library. It's going to be a pretty cool one. But this video is all about the Android head unit. I've had that in the car now for a little over a month and I've road tested it significantly. So today I'm going to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly with this unit and try and answer some of the questions that you guys have posed. Now this channel is just an inconsequential minnow, so I haven't actually got questions from viewers, but what I have done is I've seen a lot of questions in forums, particularly on Facebook. So I've got a little bit of an idea of the questions that are out there. So I'll try and answer some of those, even though they weren't directed directly at me. The first thing you need to understand with this unit is it is not a radio. It is more akin to a tablet or even a computer. If you're familiar with how a tablet or a computer operates, you'll be able to get your head around this unit a lot easier than if that sort of stuff is foreign to you and you're only used to a radio, perhaps even with push buttons on it to select your stations. The reason I make that point is this. It's important to understand how these things operate. I think a lot of the complaints I've seen on these units is actually people just not knowing how to set them up correctly, because there's a lot of complex settings inside of these things. And we'll go through a little bit of that today in the video. But let's just launch straight into the good, the bad, and the ugly, shall we? And I'll start off with the ugly. If you haven't seen my installation video yet, go back and check that one out, because that is the only ugly that I've found with this unit. If you put a Google password on this unit, it'll take the entire unit down and you'll have to reformat the unit and start from absolute scratch. That happened to me. I had to do it. Avoid that mistake. Don't put a password on this thing. So if you don't do what I did, you'll avoid that ugly altogether. Okay, let's talk about the bads that I've got with this unit. Most of the Landcruisers out there have an outside temperature setting. And on my particular unit, that outside temperature setting does not work. It reads minus 40 degrees constantly. Now I've taken that feedback back to the supplier and their response is, hey, it works on some units and it doesn't work on other units, and they can't put their finger down as to why that is the case. I know it's not specific to the Landcruisers because these head units are in a lot of different makes and models of cars. And I have seen complaints on the exact same thing. So I've resigned myself to the fact that I do not have an outside temperature reading now. Now I do take my hat off to the supplier. They said, hey, come on in, we'll swap the unit out and we'll see whether a different unit will provide you with an outside temperature reading. I decided not to do that because I've done a significant amount of customizations to this unit and I just don't want to have to do that all over again. The second bad that I've encountered is that the OBD port reader does not read RPM or vehicle speed. Now that doesn't worry me too significantly for two reasons. One, I don't actually display the RPM and the vehicle speed. I chose to display the gyroscope, which helps me level up my rooftop tent, and that works perfectly, so I love that. My second reason is that my onboard diagnostics port is actually occupied by my scan gauge. And I love that scan gauge because it sits right up in front of me on the dash and it's got the 4 settings on it that I like to look at on a reasonably regular basis. So not having that speed in RPM for me is not a big issue at all. However, just be aware that it doesn't work on my car if I wanted it to. The third bad that I've got is the Wi-Fi on the unit, and this applies only to iPhone users. So as I mentioned, this unit is more akin to a tablet or a computer. So it's got a lot of smarts on it and it works really well when it's got connectivity to the outside world. So to do that, I hotspot it off of my phone. What happens with the iPhones is it does not automatically connect when you boot the unit up. So I've got to actually go into the Wi-Fi settings of the unit every time and go into the hotspot settings of my phone every time and actually manually connect it up. Even though the network is saved, I still have to manually connect that up. Now apparently that issue is only a problem for iPhone users. If you've got an Android phone, it connects up to the unit automatically every time on boot up. And that probably makes sense because the unit in the car is actually Android as well, so they communicate with one another reasonably well. And I do know that Apple love making it difficult to use their devices to interface with foreign devices. So there is that. It's a pain in the backside, but it does connect up well when you do it manually, so there's no problems there. I did mention that to the supplier, and one of their solutions was to get a wireless dongle and hook it up to the USB port so that it's got a constant charge, and every time you fire the car up, it'll connect up with that network. I don't actually need to be online that often when I'm in the car, so that doesn't worry me so much. I'll just connect it up manually to the phone, to the hotspot on the phone. The next bad is that there is no instructions for the installation of this thing. It does say on the website, instructions included. That is not the case. On the back of the unit itself, it tells you what each of the individual plugs do, but it doesn't tell you which plug plugs into which port. Now you can't really get it wrong because they only fit in one port. But again, if you're not too familiar with electrics and installation of these types of things, it could get a little bit tricky. And the last bad for me is that they are expensive. I can't remember exactly what I paid for this thing on recording at the moment, but I'll actually pop it up on the screen and you can have a look at it. I paid full tilt for it and they are expensive, so just be aware of that. So let's then talk about the goods on these units and the things that have really impressed me. The first thing is, as you saw in the opening of this video, the customizability, if that's a word, of this unit is fantastic. You can set this thing up so that it is tailored to your specific needs. So here's an example of some of the things you can customize. Your screen, your intro. This entire screen area is called a skin, and you can change these skins completely. You can put custom images in it, like my Landcruiser here, for example, is custom. On the gyroscopes here, I haven't changed them yet, but you can change these images so that they're an image of your actual car. As can you do with the climate control system. You can change that, so that's an actual image of your car as well. Those are just some of the small customization things that you can do, but as I mentioned, the list is almost endless on this thing. And that customizability, for me, is super cool, and one thing that I really do like about this unit. Just be aware, of course, that customizability does take a little bit of nous. So if you're not familiar with how computers or tablets work, that might be something that you want to steer clear of. What else do I like about these units? There is a dedicated Facebook group that is a fantastic resource for information, and there's some really quality and smart people on there. It's called Tesla Style Firmware and Head Units. And if you've got one of these units, definitely join up to that Facebook group because there is a lot of gold in there. Another good for me is the customer support that I've had from East Coast Vision and Sound. Setting aside the dramas that I had when I put the Google password on there, they have really moved heaven and earth to try to get me back up and running again. So the customer support that I've found has been exceptional, and I've got no complaints there whatsoever. Despite the fact that there's no instructions, I think it's reasonably easy to install these units. The plug and play side of things is pretty doggone easy. You pop your plugs in, you can't really get them wrong because they only fit into one socket. Probably the trickiest thing would be pulling your dash apart if you're not familiar on how to do that. But you've got my video there that shows you how to do it, so you'll be fine. I found that the stereo quality is fantastic. Now I've just got the crappy bloody Toyota speakers in there. It's a VX unit, so I don't know whether those speakers are any better than the base model, the GXL or the base model. But regardless, the sound quality is sensational. Much, much better than the VMS unit or the factory unit that I've had in there prior. So big thumbs up to that. The Bluetooth sound quality is fantastic as well. When I'm using my phone to make calls in the car, the microphone picks up fantastically, and the phone quality is sensational. So that's a big plus for me. And I'm not actually using the dedicated microphone that they give you. There's also a microphone unit inbuilt into the unit itself, and that's all I use for the mic. And the feedback that I get from people on the other end of the line is they can understand me perfectly well. So big tick in my box on the Bluetooth quality on that. So let's talk about a couple of the issues that I have read on Facebook that people are having with these units, and see whether I've got those issues as well. The first one is that the temperature controls don't work, or that they're actually reversed. Now, I'm not saying that those people didn't have those issues, but on mine, no problem whatsoever. And there is a setting in the user area where you can actually change that. So that could be one of the issues that these people are facing. Steering wheel controls, on my 2010 VX model, there's only 4. There's a channel up, channel down, and a volume up, volume down. And all 4 of those work wonderfully. There are some user settings in there where you can change them about to change them to do different things. I had a bit of a play with that, but to be honest, what they're set at from the factory is what works for me. Another complaint that I've heard is the boot up speed takes a long time. I've not experienced that, but perhaps where some of those complaints come from is I found there's 2 different types of boot up speeds. There's what I would call a cold boot up and a hot boot up. And you can actually change those settings in the user settings. So a hot boot up, let's say I pull into a petrol station, I switch the car off, I fill the car up, go in, pay, come back out, start the car up again. I'd consider that a hot boot up. And when that happens, the unit boots up instantly, within a second. So very, very quick indeed. A cold boot up can be set in the user settings, and I've got mine set to 24 hours. So basically, that unit sits in its hot boot up standby mode for 24 hours. After that 24-hour period, it goes into a cold boot up state where when you switch it on, it has to go through the entire boot up sequence. Now the reason that I do that is so that I don't drain the battery, so it's not sitting there drawing a little bit of power waiting to be booted up in that hot boot up state. When you boot it up in the cold boot up state, it takes about 45 seconds to kick in. I have read complaints that people cannot connect their iPhone, or that the iPhones drop out on a regular basis. Again, I've not experienced that problem whatsoever. So a couple of other points that I'd like to make before I wrap up on these units. One thing that I was not aware of is the pervasivity of these units. They're not just made for Landcruiser 200s. They're made for dozens of different makes and dozens of different models. So there's a lot of people out there that are using them, and there's a lot of people with experience on these things. That's one point I'd like to make. Second point I'd like to make is there's some really smart people out there that are doing a lot of customizations with these units. And you can actually tap in with those people and learn some of that customization features to make these things more your own, I guess, which is really, really cool. So some of the settings that you've got on this thing, just across the main menu bar, I won't go into everything because it is seriously powerful and seriously complex if you want to get into it. But I've got a navigation button that's hooked up to Google Maps at the moment, but you can link that navigation button to anything. You got a radio button, you got a music button, and that is hooked up to my USB connector where I've got a USB with all my music sitting on it. Those are the apps that I've got loaded onto the unit at the moment. So I've got Topo Maps, Gmail, Ahima Maps, for example. I got my Bluetooth connector for my second battery. I've got Apple CarPlay. That's your App Store or your Google Play Store, so you can download the apps that you want to download. That's the settings button, and I won't go into all of the settings here. You then got your Android settings that you can play with. That's your aux in, which I don't have hooked up at the moment. That's your DVD player, which I don't have hooked up at the moment. That's your OBD port connector and the settings that that'll display. That's your file manager, just like a computer. You got a root directory on the flash drive of the unit itself, and I got a USB with all of my music there. You got your phone for your Bluetooth. You've got any video files that you have. Because I don't have any video files, that just sits there and spins away. And you've got a media browser. I'll do a review at one point in time in the future on the map systems that I use, but this is the HEMA Explorer map that's loaded up at the moment, and that's a topo map. So you can see, pretty bloody detailed, and that's a full screen view as well, which is cool. You can have split screen if you wish, but typically when I'm driving with a map, I've got full screen on. So why is there being some feedback on glitchiness of these units? I really don't know the answer to that, but I gotta guess. Like I said, they're installed in dozens of different makes and dozens of different models. I suspect that there's a reasonable demand out there for these units, and I suspect that Mr. China has pushed them out very, very quickly to cover as much of the market as possible in these different makes and models. And in doing that, they hadn't quite worked out the software, and there was a lot of glitchiness that was in there. I think through different iterations of software updates, they've got that right. And I can say with my unit now, it's very stable and there's no glitchiness. Yes, there are things that don't work, but they don't work intermittently. They work either completely well or they don't work at all, like the outside air temperature, for example. The other point that I'd like to make is it would have been nice if there were some videos out there that did these types of reviews before I actually went and purchased the product. It would have just left me with a little bit more comfort in making that purchase decision, especially when you're talking about the dollars that these units are going for. Now, you guys shouldn't have that problem, obviously, because I've got a video here now and you're watching it now. But it would have been really nice to have something like that to help guide me when I was on my discovery pathway. And if I reflect back about the difficulties that I had when I put that Google password on there, it would be very easy to say, gee, I wish I wouldn't have done that. But you know what? I don't wish that. I'm actually glad that happened. And why? Because when that happened, it forced me to learn and to understand these units and how the operating system worked on a reasonably basic level. And it opened my eyes to the customizability of these units. And had I just plugged this thing in and it worked right from the outset, I probably wouldn't even have known that you could do all these cool things with the unit. So that is an absolute classic example of something positive coming out of adversity. And I love when that sort of shit happens. That's just super cool. So bottom line, would I buy this unit again knowing exactly what I know now? The answer to that is an unequivocal yes. I've 100% had some hiccups to get where I am now. There is some functionality that I have lost in the Cruiser. For example, that outside air temperature. But that is all a trade-off that I'm willing to make given what I've got in the dash of the car now. All of the positives that I mentioned far and away outstrip those negatives. Now I've got a completely customized unit that absolutely blows my socks off every time I boot the thing up. So I got a big smile on my dial when I look at the car from the outside, and I got a big smile on my dial when I'm firing the car up and looking at the boot up from the inside. Couldn't be happier. I hope this helps you guys. If you do have any specific questions about these units, please drop them down in the comments below. I do answer 100% of the comments and questions that are placed in the videos, so you can be assured that you won't get radio silence if you drop something down there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this journey. We'll see you next time, either on the trails or with another modification. Keep the shiny side up, everybody. Have an amazing day. Bye now.